Have you heard of the 3 new superpower nukes in America's possession? Amid the resurgence of significant global power rivalry, the United States is introducing 3 novel nuclear arms into service. These include a fresh air-launched nuclear cruise missile, a formidable new atomic bomb, and the country's first new intercontinental ballistic missile since the 1970s. But what are these weapons, and what are they intended for? Let's discuss the nuclear landscape of the 21st century and consider whether the world has lost its sanity or just a normal day on the playing field. For the past 74 years and continuing, the world's nuclear powers have prevented Armageddon primarily through a stern commitment to escalating any nuclear attack into a worldwide disaster, an apocalyptic equilibrium known as mutually assured destruction. However, both China and Russia have developed a variety of new nuclear weapons in recent years, raising concerns that the United States arsenal may be too technologically outdated to deter its adversaries effectively. However, a new generation of American nuclear weapons currently entering service seeks to counteract the benefits provided by adversary systems and restore the fragile balance of mutually assured destruction. The AGM-181 Sentinel, the United States' first intercontinental ballistic missile in 50 years, is set to be the most sophisticated weapon ever deployed, focused not only on cost reduction and long-term sustainability, but also on modular expansion. In essence, America's new intercontinental ballistic missile has been intentionally engineered with extra capacity to quickly incorporate new countermeasures, warhead delivery systems, or even additional warheads. However, strategic deterrence involves much more than simply deploying effective new weapons. It's about deploying the appropriate ones to balance those possessed by adversaries. This is the core principle of America's nuclear triad, which refers to a comprehensive array of platforms, weapons, and delivery systems spread across land-based launchers, sea-based platforms, and aircraft. The idea is that regardless of how powerful the enemy's nuclear weapons are, or the destruction caused by their first strike, the United States will still have nuclear weapons in other locations capable of retaliating. It is this threat of retaliation that the United States hopes will deter any such first strike from ever happening. With this idea of deterrence in mind, let's quickly review the recent nuclear stances of Russia and China. Before delving into the details of these new American weapons, it's fitting to start with Russia. Many people today view mutually assured destruction as a remnant of the Cold War era with the Soviet Union, a notion that disappeared alongside dock and cover atomic drills and backyard fallout shelters. The reality is that the 21st century is just as chaotic as the 20th, if not more so. Russia's ongoing, poorly executed invasion of Ukraine has exposed numerous significant flaws within its extensive military structure. However, the weaknesses shown by Russia's conventional forces could increase the likelihood of nuclear escalation rather than decrease it. To support these concerns, one only needs to consider the frequent statements made by Russian officials. Russia's escalating nuclear rhetoric has been accompanied by the deployment of various new nuclear weapons. The K-47M2 Kinzhal, which Russia once promoted as a modern hypersonic weapon, may essentially be just an air-launched ballistic missile. However, it remains a nuclear-capable weapon, enabling Russian fighters or bombers to launch nukes from standoff distances. The Avangard hypersonic glide vehicle, on the other hand, may present an even greater threat. Hypersonic glide vehicles can be seen as an extension of ballistic missile technology. The Avangard, for instance, is designed to be delivered via Russia's latest intercontinental ballistic missile, the Rs-28 Sarmat, which is expected to enter service this year. Hypersonic glide vehicles detach from their boosters at a lower altitude compared to ballistic missile warheads, then glide unpowered towards their targets at extremely high speeds, sometimes exceeding Mach 20. What sets these weapons apart from traditional ballistic warheads is their ability to use control surfaces to make unpredictable course changes, sacrificing some airspeed to make interception more difficult. The Rs-28 Sarmat doesn't only carry hypersonic glide vehicles, it is also capable of delivering enough warheads to achieve a combined 50 megatons of destructive power comparable to the largest nuclear weapon ever detonated, the Soviet Tsar bomber. Russian state media outlets have claimed that the Sarmat, known in NATO circles as the Satan II, can single-handedly destroy areas the size of France or Texas. Additionally, Russia has several other nuclear weapons nearing service, including the semi-autonomous undersea weapon known as Poseidon or Stata-6, which is a type of nuclear torpedo. Originally claimed to carry a warhead as large as 100 megatons, the Poseidon now appears to have a destructive capacity closer to 2 megatons. Nonetheless, this undersea threat, rumored to reach speeds up to 70 knots while submerged, complicates coastal defense in a nuclear conflict. However, Russia is no longer the only nuclear threat on the horizon, as highlighted in the Congressional Commission's recent report on strategic posture. The report states the United States will face 2 nuclear peer adversaries for the first time. The Commission concludes that China's rapid expansion of its nuclear forces, combined with Russia's increasing reliance on nuclear weapons, poses a significant threat to national security and potentially the U.S. homeland. This shift prompts a closer look at China's rapidly expanding nuclear arsenal. According to the report, China has adjusted the role of nuclear weapons within its broader national security strategy toward an expanded theater nuclear warfighting role. Essentially, this means China is preparing to confront an existing nuclear power, specifically the United States, and has made significant investments towards this end since 2020. In February of 2023, Republican lawmakers from the Congressional Armed Services Committee and the Strategic Forces Panel issued a joint statement asserting, "It is not an understatement to say that the Chinese nuclear modernization program is advancing faster than most believe possible." That same month, the U.S. Strategic Command issued a similar assessment. The United States Strategic Command issued a notification to Congress informing them that China had officially surpassed the United States in the total number of intercontinental ballistic missile launchers, with over 450 installations. In February of this year, the Department of Defense reported that China had approximately 400 nuclear warheads stockpiled. However, by October, the Pentagon released its annual report on Chinese military and security developments, which indicated that the number of warheads in China's stockpile had already increased to 500, and the growth rate is set to exceed even the most aggressive earlier projections. According to an October report, compared to the People's Liberation Army's nuclear modernization efforts a decade ago, current efforts dwarf previous attempts in both scale and complexity. China currently appears to be nearing completion of at least 300 new land-based intercontinental ballistic missile silos, with some of these silos already armed with their latest DF-5C liquid-fueled intercontinental ballistic missile. This missile is the longest-ranged and most advanced nuclear weapon in the Chinese arsenal, capable of carrying up to 10 separate warheads or multiple independent re-entry vehicles. This represents a significant improvement over their previous DF-5B missiles, which could carry only 3 warheads, similar to the United States Minuteman III. However, it's important to note that the Minuteman III is currently limited by policy to carrying only 1 warhead. China's DF-5C ICBM has an estimated destructive yield of 1 to 3 megatons. The JL-3 submarine-launched ballistic missile can reach the U.S. from Chinese coastal waters, and the DF-17 missile, with its hypersonic DF-ZF glide vehicle, is designed to target American aircraft carriers. The Pentagon projects China will have at least 1,000 nuclear warheads by the decade's end, compared to Russia's 5,189 and America's 5,244. But with fewer than 1,500 kept combat-ready by both nations. The Congressional Commission concluded that China will reach quantitative parity with the U.S. in deployed nuclear warheads by the mid-2030s, with continued rapid progress expected. Given China's doubling of its nuclear stockpile since 2020 and significant delivery method investments, Beijing is now considered the primary nuclear threat in a 21st-century Cold War. Now let's talk about the new addition to the U.S. stockpile. The United States' new nuclear arsenal begins with the LGM-35A Sentinel, a new intercontinental ballistic missile. The current ICBM inventory includes approximately 440 LGM-30G Minuteman III missiles, which can reach about 8,000 miles, 13,000 kilometers, and strike targets within 120 meters, 30 minutes after launch. Although the 8,000-mile range is theoretical, tests have exceeded 6,000 miles without reaching maximum limits. These 60-foot-tall missiles are test-launched twice a year and have shown high reliability over their 50-year service life. However, a recent Minuteman III test over the Pacific was terminated due to an undisclosed anomaly, suggesting possible failure and underscoring their age. The Minuteman ICBMs date back to the 1950s, with the Minuteman III developed in 1966 and entering service in 1970, initially meant to last 10 years. They have now been in service for over 50 years due to life extensions. The United States Strategic Command determined that extending the Minuteman III's service life would cost more than developing a new ICBM. The Sentinel program is projected to cost up to $100 billion. Northrop Grumman was awarded the contract after acquiring Boeing's engine supplier Orbital ATK in July 2019, effectively ending the competition. Recently, the Air Force awarded Lockheed Martin nearly $1 billion to develop the Mk-21A re-entry vehicle, which will carry 4 75-kiloton W-87 warheads currently used by the Minuteman III. Additionally, a new W-87-1 warhead and a next-generation re-entry vehicle, NGV, are in development for the Sentinel. The Sentinel ICBM, carrying a single 475-kiloton warhead, benefits from high precision, allowing for smaller yields and a cheaper stockpile. It can also carry up to 3 warheads or advanced countermeasures, with a modular, open system architecture enabling rapid, cost-effective upgrades over its 50-year service life. The AGM-181 Long-Range Standoff Nuclear Cruise Missile, LRSO, by Raytheon Technologies, will replace the 40-year-old AGM-86B missiles, designed for the B-21 Raider and B-52 Stratofortress. The LRSO boasts a greater range than the AGM-86B's 1,500 miles, enhancing the B-52's nuclear role. The LRSO, powered by a turbofan engine, has undergone extensive flight tests, culminating in a full system test with an inert W-84 warhead set to enter service by 2030. The B-61-12 nuclear gravity bomb, with a variable yield of up to 50 kilotons, replaces older B-61- series bombs. Despite claims that precision guidance allows it to replace higher-yield bombs, the Pentagon has announced a 360-kiloton version. This bomb could target economic and political sites, with the B-61-12 program fielding 400 to 480 new bombs. The 1.2 megaton B-83-1 bomb, while costly to maintain, may be replaced by the B-61-12 for targeting fortified subterranean bunkers, maintaining effective deterrence. All in all, the B-61-12's precision and 360 kiloton yield enable it to hit underground targets with an impact equivalent to a megaton surface burst, allowing for the potential retirement of the expensive B-83 bombs. This ends today's video. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe for more precise aviation videos.